Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that'll help you become your best self. And today we are talking about how to recover from anxious days. But before we jump into that, as always, I want to invite you over to say hi to me on Instagram. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo. Or if you would rather send me an email, you can email me at realpositivegirlpodcast@gmail.com. The information on how to spell all of those things and what it is down in the show notes below, but I would love to hear from you. I would love to chit chat. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, I would love to hear from you because you guys are the best and I just want to get to know each and every one of you, and please do not hesitate to reach out. But let's get to today's episode, which is, again, how to recover from anxious days. I recently had someone reach out to me looking for tips on how to recover from days filled with like anxiety and stress, which I had thought I had spoken on recently. Picture me scrolling through my own list of episodes being like, did I talk about that? But I feel like I talk about so many things, and sometimes I will weave in small things into episodes all the time, and I think I've talked about it, and I have not. So, when I looked back on the episodes, at least in the last 6 months, I didn't see anything. And it was such a great topic to speak on. This also speaks to the fact that if you do reach out to me on Instagram or via email and you have a topic suggestion, I might just do it. I love having more suggestions. I love to understand what you guys are actually dealing with because, maybe the content that I'm putting out is good and well and helpful, but if I can, take something that you actually are dealing with and then research it and then bring you an episode on it, that's even better, right? It's even better. I feel like I'm actually helping you even more. So again, reach out to me. But yeah, so someone suggested this and I was like, okay, great. I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to get to that. And I'm here getting to it. And I'm really excited about it. Although, small tangent, someone please reach out to me just for the sake of telling me, if you hear my dog breathing loudly in the background, he constantly, and he's a golden retriever, constantly wants to sleep in my office when I'm recording. It's just it. And so he's usually pretty chill, but sometimes I can hear him breathing or sighing, and I don't know if it's being caught on the mic. So anyway, if you hear that, please reach out. Maybe not. Maybe it's just me. So anyway, okay, so I think most of us deal with anxiety and stress in some capacity of our lives, right? Yes, the answer is yes, I think. Because life is crazy and unpredictable sometimes. So of course we experience a range of emotions in response to what's happening around us and directly to us. Because especially in the world that we live in right now, it's up and down all around. At least for me and a lot of people that I know and hear from, it's just crazy. And, we all may not deal with it on the same level. Of course, some of us have high anxiety, low. Even some of us are just dealing with occasional anxiety, not even a daily thing. But it's still something we all understand and would benefit learning more about, I believe. And in the past, I've spoken about ways, we can recognize our own anxiety, which is super important because if you just go through life thinking that these symptoms, if you would say, or things and feelings that are happening to us and you don't exactly know what that could be pointing to, that could cause you all even more stress, but also a lot of confusion because you're I don't know what's happening. All of these things are happening. But just for a little refresher, here is a quick list of some common things that could, I stress the word could, mean you're in an anxious state. It doesn't mean that you are in an anxious state. It just means that you could be. Something to keep in mind. So avoidance, if you are avoiding people or certain situations, if you are in need of a constant reassurance from other people before you do anything or say anything or engage in certain behaviors, you're constantly worrying, you might have a rapid heart rate, you might have headaches, and they might be worse than what headaches that you normally have. or they might be hitting a different part of your head, whether it's like more in the front or more in the back. You could also be having insomnia. You could have trouble sleeping, or maybe you are sleeping more than you normally would, right? Also, stomach trouble. That's definitely a key one for me. And that could include like pain in your stomach, or it can include like digestive issues and problems. Or even trouble remembering things. If you find that your memory is not as great as it normally is, I was recently dealing with this. It could definitely be anxiety. And as always, I encourage you to speak with a professional if you are unsure of what you personally could be dealing with, as they will be able to help you figure it out best, like they will. And I give therapy 11 out of 10. I love it. I go to therapy every single week, and every single week we don't necessarily have something that needs to be spoken about. It used to be. But there's always something, and it's so great. And so even if you feel like you are problem free, you might actually benefit from it. And if you feel like you have problems, you should go. There is no shame in it. Some people might try to make you feel shameful for it, but that's because they're probably too embarrassed to admit that, yes, that is something that they probably need, to be honest with you. So, plus having someone else to help you understand yourself better is never a bad thing. It just never is, it's just someone that you pay that's a professional to help you figure it out. So you don't feel like you're alone in that, right? So anyway, have to make that note because it's so important, and I am here for therapy. So those are just a quick running list of things that if you feel like you're experiencing those, and a myriad of other ones that you can Google. If you just Google like physical symptoms of anxiety, you'll come up with a whole list. And if you find that you are exhibiting multiple of those, maybe it's something to consider to ask a professional about, whether it is a therapist or a doctor or both or whatever you want to do. Now, I want to start by mentioning that this topic, talking about recovering from anxious days, is a topic that's covered heavily online, like a lot. Like if you type in like anxiety day or anxious day, or, how to recover from anxiety or panic attack or whatever it is, which I know that's not the same thing, but I'm just saying on the internet, they are commonly swapped out, which they are not. We'll talk about that another time. I can go on a tangent about that. Let's not do that. Sabrina on a tangent right now is not helpful. But it's talked about a lot. You can find so many different articles online on how to, deal with anxiety, just in general. And, a lot of the suggestions for what to do when dealing with anxiety is like things like listen to music, go to a workout class, have a laugh with friends, or drink less caffeine. And while these are fine suggestions, like fine, like if you really do feel like you are really down in those Monster energy drinks or whatever it is, or you're slinging back cups of coffee, maybe you do. Maybe you need to cut back on those things. Maybe some of those things could help, but none of these are going to help you long term. Maybe the caffeine one. But in general, these ones are not going to be like long-term solutions. These are all quick fixes, right? Because if you just go to a workout class, which everyone knows, like if you're new here, hello, welcome, thank you. I love working out. I work out every day when I'm not sick. I love it. It's great. It makes me feel so invigorated and alive and proud of myself. But just being like, yeah, let's just go to a yoga class because I'm feeling super anxious, like it's a quick fix. It's not going to be something that's going to help you really dive in. These will not help you conquer certain triggers that induce anxiety in you or really make you feel like you are getting a handle on not letting your anxiety get the best of you. And so many times I've been in a situation where I allow my anxiety to get the best of me because I just get overwhelmed and I just let it run away with me, with my actual like brain, where I'm like, oh wait, no, it's going, right? And a lot of times I will implement And I have implemented a lot of these little things where it's just like a quick fix. Because in the moment, I just want something, right? A lot of people online, you'll see that they'll suggest doing like breathing exercises, which now that's probably one I can get on board with. I don't know a lot about it. I don't care to know a lot about it, but if I take like 10 deep breaths in and out, you know, in through my nose, out through my mouth, it does help. And then I'm able to come to a state where I'm like, okay, what do I actually need to do right now? Watching an episode of Friends sounds fun, but I know it's not going to actually fix the problem. And it's just, you want to be able to get a handle on your anxiety. You're not going to be able to like make it go away forever. I don't believe that. I feel like if you have it, you can diminish it to the smallest point you can, right? And that's different for everyone, which is totally fine because I might still have anxiety at like a 30%, but at least it's not at a 75 anymore every single day. You know what I mean? So you're not trying to squash it completely. You're not trying to make it no longer exist. Because maybe if you can, and maybe you can for very specific things that you have anxiety about. But I don't want you to focus on just that. You're just trying to focus on really not letting it take over you and to really minimize it as much as possible. Being more in control of how we respond while dealing with anxiety should be the goal, right? Should be the number one goal. And that'll make our lives better. That'll make us not feel like everything around us is a dumpster fire. That'll make us feel like we can enjoy our days more. We can really live this life despite any problems or issues that are going on that are outside of our control. And when things don't feel like they're fair, but that's just how life is, it'll be okay. We'll feel okay. We're like, okay, well, those things happen. But I'm not having a meltdown right now. That's the kind of feeling I'm here for you to have. So now this means that the suggestions I give you today will be more focused on understanding why the anxiety is there and tackling it from the inside out. The other suggestions I talked about, like drinking less caffeine and having a laugh with friends and watching a movie or playing a video game or whatever, all good intentioned things. Again, I'm not saying that they are terrible things, and I'm not saying you should not do those things if those are things you want to do, but you have to understand that when you're doing those things, they are quick fixes. They are not fixing it from the inside out. They are trying to fix it from the outside in. And you might not ever make it into the inside because you get distracted. And then you just move on, right? So we're talking dealing with your emotions like usual around here, which isn't as easy as just watching your favorite TV show to distract yourself. Believe me, there have been many times where I just sit on the couch and I watch Friends, even though I've seen the whole series, I don't know how many times now. But I know that that's just a distraction. Usually for me, it's like, okay, if I'm not ready to jump on the train to be like, oh, okay, let's like pick apart these emotions, I will do that. Or I will go for a run, or I will do whatever. And then I know that I still have to take that next step, right? So if you do want to do those things, use them as like a preliminary like gateway to be like, okay, I just need to calm down for a minute and then move on to some of the suggestions I'm going to give you today. So today I want to share with you 5 ways to recover from anxious days. And just as like a, spoiler alert, number 5 is very much like talking to someone professional, but I have to put it in there because it's one of the best and it's helped me so much. So here are 5. Here's the first one. Acknowledge what actually made you feel anxious. So if it's something that happened, like a situation that happened, or you saw someone, or you were embarrassed, or whatever happened, really acknowledge what it was. Okay? Even if it's something small and you feel like it's so dumb and you're like, oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it was this little dumb thing. It was like the way that someone looked at me. And I don't even know if they looked at me that way, but I felt like they looked at me that way. And that's what made me feel anxious, like they were talking about me. Maybe it was that. But whatever it was, Even if it's something as small as that, even if you know in your mind it's a ridiculous thing, that's okay. Because you're acknowledging it to yourself. And that's like the first step. You have to be able to acknowledge that whatever it was caused you anxiety. Because by acknowledging whatever it was, you are able to really evaluate, wow, okay, so like for the example of like someone looking at you, feeling like they looked at you weird and now you're super anxious that they're talking about you and you feel like, your reputation and your job is at stake and you don't know why, and now you're super guarded about everything you say to anyone else and you're worried your boss is going to call you into the office or call you on the Zoom or whatever, right? You see how it could just like, whoop, that just like ramped up really quick. So if it's that, you're like, okay, I am anxious because they looked at me weird. But did they actually look at me weird? Maybe, maybe not. And if they did, okay, I could have just been like, hey, what's up? Or maybe tomorrow or whenever next, I can be like, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. I didn't know if, there's something going on, if you're that bold. If you're not that bold, I get it. But you can ask them. Or you can be like, okay, but am I being insecure? Do I feel like I've been slacking on work? No. Or am I worried about what my boss thinks about me? Yes. Is it because something happened? I don't know, right? Really start to break it down. And I know that takes effort. It takes time. You don't want to do it, but you got to. It takes so much effort. It takes so much mental effort for you to actually be like, this is what happened. This is how I feel. I feel this way because, and then sometimes you'll get to like an ending. You're like, because of this, or because this happened. And you can't go any further, which is fine. You don't have to continue to push. You can, or you can just take a break. And if you're able to like jot down a couple notes to know where you ended, maybe your subconscious will continue to work on it while you move on to something else in your life. And then there'll be a moment where you're like, oh, that is why. That is why I was anxious, or that is why I feel this way, and it led to all of these other things. You see what I mean? Because you actually took the time and the energy to really be like, what is it? What is it? Even if it was traffic, because you were anxious, you weren't going to make it home in time, and that has turned into a spiral. It's so easy for anxiety to just continue to spiral up because it creeps into you, and I feel like it locks its jaws onto you, and then you're just revving on anxiety energy until you realize it, and then you have to pull back on the gas, hit the brake, and then be like, dang, wow, this is where we are. At least that's how I feel. So, again, the first one is to acknowledge actually what it was. Don't make up some grandiose thing about how like, oh, well, it was someone else's fault, or I don't really know. No, you know. If you take a few moments to really think it through and like jog back what happened, you will know. Okay? Be honest with yourself. You have to be, or you will not accomplish many things emotionally for yourself. Number 2, shift your habits and routines to cut back on anxious triggers. So if you find that whatever is causing anxiety for you has turned into like a trigger, you might want to shift your habits and your routines, like how you do your daily life, to avoid those things. So let's say that you do see someone in the hallway and you feel like they are always giving you a side-eyed glance. And that is causing you to be fearful of your job and all of these other things, right? Well, if you constantly find them in the hallway, is there an opportunity for you to not see them in the hallway? Can you take a different route to where you need to go? Or can you, understand that they are in the hallway during these times usually, and maybe try to avoid them? Now, I would normally say that going out of your way to avoid people doesn't always fix things, but if it's not really going to cause any other trouble in any other way, like if you are avoiding them and you don't have like a working relationship with them, you don't have to see them and talk to them, and you don't have any ill will towards them. You're just like, I can't deal with the unknown of not knowing whether they're saying things behind my back about me or whatever. Then yeah, just try to like not let them be in your whole routine. how you run your day, okay? If you find that checking all of your emails early in the morning really drives up your anxiety because you feel like you have so much to do, maybe you can change your routine to only check a certain amount or check it from certain people because, I understand that like you want to be able to like check in on your emails to make sure there's not something you have to do, right? So changing your routine and shifting your habits like that, maybe you end up going to the gym and the gym makes you feel super anxious. Is there a different time that you can go where there's less people if that's what bothers you? Or maybe there are certain people that go during a certain time that make you feel very uncomfortable. Maybe you need to change gyms. Maybe you just need to shift around what you're doing so that you're not constantly running into these anxiety triggers and just letting yourself be kind of blown up. Do you know what I mean? So that is also a really good way to help you like recover from anxious days because you can really evaluate, okay, well, what changes can I make right now, even the smallest ones, to make myself feel less anxious the next day and the next day and the next day, and hopefully reduce it even just a little bit over time. If you can't make any drastic changes, even a little bit every single day will make a difference. Okay, number 3 is to reflect on something you're grateful for now and something you're looking forward to. So, when we have days that are filled with anxiety and it just gets to be so much, usually if I have a day that's like so anxiety ridden, I usually want to cry by the time it's over or I want to take a nap because you just feel so mentally and sometimes physically exhausted, right? But a lot of times to recover from that, it's really great to reflect on something that you're grateful for now. And I know gratitude seems like one of the cheesy answers that I listed, like the easy ones before, but I believe that really engaging in gratitude can be so incredibly helpful because you're coming from a mindset of like, okay, well, despite what is happening to me and around me, there are still good things in my life. And I find that it's a practice that we should do every single day because we'll continue to realize that even if we are in the darkest of our days, we are in that pit of despair, we still realize, oh, but I still have these wonderful, shining, beaming things in my life that are beautiful. And I'm so happy they are here. And these are the things that I'm going to cling to right now to help me remember and know that life is worth living, and I am so happy these things are in my life. So that could be the people in your life, like you have friends and family, or a partner, or a spouse, or a child, or whatever. Or maybe it is a beautiful home, that you have and you're so grateful for it. Or it's a job that you actually really enjoy and your anxiety is coming from somewhere else, totally. Or maybe it's your dog or your cat or your guinea pig or whatever kind of pet that you have. Maybe it's a side hustle that you do and you're just so in love with it and you know that if you continue to work towards it, and build it, you'll be able to do that full time. It's like whatever it is that you can be grateful for right now, be grateful for it. Bask in that. Remind yourself of that constantly because it will just help you shift your mindset so much. And then also, if you tie that in with being excited and grateful for something that is coming up, that is going to happen, that is such an easy way for you to shift your negative thoughts to something more positive, more hopeful, right? And if you're saying, Sabrina, I have nothing to look forward to, always have something to look forward to, even if it's super small. Even if it's like, okay, I'm going to meet my friend for a cup of coffee. And maybe that's something that you do every day, but it's something that you look forward to if you really like that friend, or if you really enjoy that coffee there, or if you get like a treat to go with it, right? That's what you're looking forward to. Or maybe you have a vacation coming up, or maybe you're just going to take a couple of days off, or maybe you're looking forward to a certain like workout class that you really, really enjoy. Or maybe you're going to look forward to being able to go shop for this or that on the weekend. Like whatever it is, just like find something to look forward to and always have something to look forward to. This is actually something that my husband loves too. He feels like he needs something to look forward to. And his things like have to be like really big things, like really big things that he is going to get, or like a vacation or something fun like that. But I think that you can do this from a level of even the smallest things. Even if you were looking forward to something that you ordered online coming in the mail, you're still looking forward to it. It's still going to spark joy in your life, and it's going to help to shift any negative thoughts and really like change your mindset and realize, oh, okay, I'm feeling really anxious about this, but I am so grateful for this in my life, and I'm really excited for this coming up, and I don't need to sit in these anxious feelings. I don't need to really obsess about this, in a way. I have better things that are more worthy of the time to like really think about them and focus on them, right? So I just believe that dealing with anxious days, if you do focus on gratitude and something you're looking forward to, it'll help cut back on you really continuing to ruminate over things that cause you anxiety, and then continuing to experience that anxiety in that way. Okay, so number four, you're going to be like, really? Yes, okay. It might seem cheesy, but I do believe that what we tell ourselves on a regular basis are the things we believe. So we have a lot of outside input from what other people say about us and what we believe, but also a lot of things that we say to ourselves. And a lot of times, like, no one's ever going to know what we say to ourselves because it's to ourselves and we're not sharing it with someone, unless we are telling someone what we say to ourselves. So I believe that if we change the way that we speak to ourselves, we can be more positive and hopeful people and not allow anxiety to take over us. So what I think you should do is, after like a really long anxious day, or even in the middle of like experiencing anxiety, remind yourself, I've felt this way before and everything turned out fine. Now, immediately, when I even wrote these notes, I was like, there's been times in my life where I did have anxiety, and then it did not turn out fine, right? Something happened and it sucked. But the problem with that is that I will continually hold that experience against every other experience and be like, well, but that happened. There was a time where it did happen. But the majority, you have to take a step back and widen your perspective and be like, well, okay, sure. Sometimes it's not going to be fine, but you're still here. You're still alive. You're still thriving as much as you can. And it turned out okay, right? It may not have been the best, but it's okay. And just be like, well, most of the time, yes, it did. You've felt this way before and it's turned out fine. There were some times where it didn't, and if it does not, you will handle it in those moments. But I find that it's really helpful to remind yourself, I felt this way before and everything turned out fine. Because you're really telling yourself, you're like, okay, I've been through this anxious state. It's even blown into like a panic attack before, but it's been okay. The bad things, the things that I just like worked myself up to, did not happen. And I was able to continue on. I was able to, move on from this. Like the things that I thought were going to happen, that I thought I was manifesting in my mind, all these terrible things, they did not. And it was all okay. And there's nothing to worry about. And if you continue to remind yourself this and say this to yourself, it's kind of like a mantra, which I know sounds really weird, but I'm telling you, whatever you're telling yourself, it's like as if you told yourself every single day, I'm ugly, I'm terrible, I'm stupid. Like, if you continue to tell yourself that every single day over and over, you're going to start to believe it. It's the same with this. I've felt this way before and everything turned out fine. Try it. If you like don't believe me, next time you're feeling really anxious or you come home from an anxious day and you're still riding that anxiety wave, say this to yourself. I've felt this way before and everything turned out fine. Because it'll help you just like mellow a little bit, come down from the madness, come down from the high emotions that you're having, and realize it's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. Whether it's hard or easy or somewhere in the middle, you will make it through because you were able to do it last time this happened. Last time you had these feelings. Okay, so the final one is number 5. Talk to someone about your anxiety if it feels overwhelming. Talk to someone about your anxiety, even if it isn't overwhelming. If you just feel like it just is what it is, talk to someone. Talk to a professional. Get therapy. I love therapy. I'm here to tell you you can do therapy. It's great. But maybe you don't want to do therapy, or maybe you're in therapy, right? And that's not working out. Find someone new. Believe me, I've been through 4 therapists the last few years. The one that I have right now, he's great. But sometimes when you have a therapist and you work together for a while, and then your relationship just comes to an end. I don't think that you have to have the same therapist for your entire life. Sometimes you've just exhausted everything that person can do for you, and you need to move on. Maybe you've developed different problems, different issues that they are just not specialized in, or they don't have the time to research and help you with. That's okay. And maybe you've just gotten better that you don't need someone that works as deeply anymore, you know? So I encourage you that if you do have someone it's not working out, maybe you just try someone new. Or maybe you've tried someone and you've had them only for a couple of times and you already don't feel like it's good, then try someone else. It's totally fine. Do what you need to do, but I encourage you to get help. Now, maybe you don't want that. You're not ready for therapy. Totally fine. Find someone that you trust, whether it's a friend, a family member, a partner, a mentor, someone that you could talk to, someone that you feel safe with. That is so important. Make sure that you feel safe with them and that you trust them and that they're not going to betray your trust, right? You can't know that 110% with someone like that. But if you do feel like you can, then do that. Talk to them. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what's going on. Tell them what is triggering your anxiety. And maybe they can give you some advice. Or maybe you just want someone to listen to. You just want to get it off your chest because you want to get it out there and that'll help you process it yourself. Do it. Many times my husband and I will just vent to each other, not necessarily give advice unless the other person asks. And it helps us process it ourselves because we're actually like speaking it all out, kind of like word vomit, and then really figuring out, oh, wow, that's it. That's the thing. So I encourage you, talk to someone about your anxiety if you feel like it's overwhelming, and they can really help you kind of like just get it all out and figure out what needs to happen next to change your habits, to figure out what you are exactly, anxious about and what needs to change so that you're not constantly living in this anxiety, which is important. And that's what I'll leave you with. A change is going to need to be made no matter what. So, these tips are helpful for you to use while you're in the anxious state or like after the end of the day where you just want to kind of like move on from feeling that high anxiety. And you could do all of the, quick fixes, like watch a movie, take a bath, take a shower, go work out, read a book, whatever you want, and then move into some deeper emotional like healing and understanding of why. But you have to make changes. The end of the game is you have to make changes or else nothing will change. Nothing different will happen. If you just continue as status quo, how do you expect to feel better? And even a change as small as accepting the fact that you feel insecure when people are looking at you because you fear like the worst is to happen. But if you accept the fact that you are insecure, it will help you to work on those insecurities, help you to realize, oh, I'm insecure. Why am I insecure? Because this happened. Oh, why am I letting that one experience dominate my whole existence? Oh, well, and you'll continue down that rabbit hole of emotions and feelings and understanding, but even accepting that you need to work on something is a change that you can make. So, well, thank you so much for listening, you guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast again with me, Sabrina. I hope that has really helped. I really hope. I hope that I didn't go off on too many tangents and it didn't feel like, wow, I just wanted some quick, quick fixes. Sure. I mean, the internet can give you that all day long. I could even write you a quick list, but I feel like it's better to actually work on our emotions and figure out what's going on so we can make the change for the rest of our lives. But again, thank you so much for listening, downloading, and sharing the show. I appreciate every single one of you. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Again, check the show notes below to find me on Instagram or send me an email. Um, and I look forward to hearing from you. But until next time, have a good one, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.